Okay, for today's video, I'm going to talk about how, as a manager or a business owner, you can instill accountability in your culture, in the culture of your team, your department, group of people. It starts with context. You want to create a good context or a good enough reason for people to be accountable to you and for you to be accountable to them as well. See, without a good reason or a good enough compelling reason or future that you're living into that justifies accountability, becomes harder to do it. It can be done, but it's you're going to turn probably into more like North Korea, become more like a dictatorship, telling people thou shalt be accountable, rather than have it be occurring more naturally and from people's heart. You could see, although I don't really like using that term, it has some degree of accuracy. You want to have it come naturally. How you do that? You create context. So that's one thing. The second thing is that you create a structure underneath the context. So once you create a good enough reason, you got to have a system in place that you participate yourself. And once you have a context and a system, it's a good, I would say they're good starting points for creating a culture of accountability in your team. So context starts by, there are lots of stuff to say about this, but I'll try and make it short and sweet here for the video's sake at least. You want to identify for yourself what's your mission statement, okay? But you also want to help your team identify how they can participate in that mission statement by having them see how their context of what's important for them lines up with the company. So what do I mean by that? I mean finding out from them what's important for them. And you can do this by asking some very professional but very comfortable, almost easy questions that you can pose for them to elicit that information. Once you understand that, you can start putting this jigsaw puzzle together on how to have them be vested with you as well. And the trick is to find out what they need first. Most people make the mistake of just imposing what the company thinks because, you know, most people come to jobs just wanting to be paid, frankly. You know, there's no real participatoriness or participativeness in the company. You want to get that going for people. Even if you think they're only coming in for a job, you want to start looking at how you can create more interesting, compelling reasons for them to show up. And if you start creating that, then by asking some simple questions, you can start figuring out how to make this a true partnership with them, with each person in your team, particularly the top stakeholders in the team. How you can create a Loctite partnership. Okay, if I get you this, you get me this. And after a while, that becomes implicit. It's in the blood. It's in the DNA. Okay, but until it is, the second part of this is to create a system or a set of systems or a structure so that you remember the partnership. You keep remembering it. It's part of the problem is most people forget about it. The second thing is that you do practices, actual practical concrete things that express the partnership in a concrete and reliable way. And without that, you have what I call bukaka. Bukaka is a technical term that means bukaka. It means nonsensical. You may have a mission statement, but it means nothing to people. Or you have a system, but there's no reason for people to use a system. So you've got to have both. You've got to have a context, and you've got to have a system in place. I realize that this may be a bigger topic, and we may need more input and more dialogue. And if you're interested in that, please, of course, please feel free to sign up for my free session with you on my website, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you if it makes sense.